What's up, everybody? It's HBT with Straight Up Wrestling Show, man, here live, and I'm going to talk about Ric Flair, Nature Boy Ric Flair. It's his birthday. Happy birthday to Ric Flair. Christopher Burton's supposed to be in here with me. Man, I don't know where he's at, but he should be here with me here soon. He is off today. I suspected him to be already in the stream, but he's not. But hopefully he'll be here in just a moment. Let me send him a message, man. But, hey, we are starting this thing off. Something must have happened. He got caught up with something, but hey, we're going to talk about the Nature Boy Ric Flair, guys. We're talking about the Nature Boy Ric Flair and his birthday, man. We're celebrating Ric Flair, man. Going to celebrate his career, talk about him. So, guys, hey, give me just a moment. I'm going to get in touch with Chris here, send him a message, man, get him online, and we're going to talk about Ric Flair, man. We definitely going to talk about Ric Flair, the Nature Boy. So, guys, hey, as you come in, you know what to do. Hit that like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell over on YouTube. And if you're on Twitch, you do the same thing you do over here on YouTube. And over on Facebook, man, you hit that like, share, subscribe, hit that like, share, join over on Facebook. And on Twitch, man, not Twitch, but on X, formerly known as Twitter, hit that like, share, tweet, and retweet, man. We appreciate everybody coming in. But let me make sure, guys, here that I am live right now because I'm not seeing anything. I'm not sure. But, yeah, hopefully Chris will be joining me in just a moment. But, wow, let's say sometimes I get the same messed up. But, yeah, I am live, man. What's up, Drake? Drake is in the house. What's going on, man? Drake says doing good. Okay. All right, Walmart. I mean, not Walmart. I thought I seen something on here say Walmart. Will Rally Sports says, hi, Harry. Let's see what I got here, man. Goodness sake. Hi, Harry. Is it Ric Flair's birthday today? Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, Rally. Hope you're doing okay too, man. All right, guys, give me just a moment. I'm going to get Chris in here. I'm going to definitely get him in here. I don't know what's going on with him. I just got finished talking to him. Maybe he had to have a break or something, a bathroom break or something. Who knows? Anything can happen. But definitely going to get in touch with him. All right, Green Randall, to celebrate his birthday, Ric Flair is going to have a 3-hour Iron Man match against Colt Cabana. Man, you tripping, Green Randall. That's not happening. Will Rally Sports says Walmart. Crack it up. Yeah, I thought I saw Walmart, man. That's pretty funny. Doggone Walmart. Wow. All right, man, but let me get Chris on up in here, man. So I don't know where in the world he at. He should be coming in here soon, hopefully. They say something must have happened. But I don't know what in the world would have happened because he's at home right now by himself, from what I understand. Let's see. So need to get him in on this thing, man. All right. Heck yeah, man. So, yeah, we're going to talk about Ric Flair. I'm going to talk about his career a little bit. Like I said, man, I'm trying to get Chris, get in touch with Chris real quick. Tell him come on in here because I don't know what in the world could have happened there, but he should be here now. All right. But, guys, yeah, happy birthday to Ric Flair, the man. Hey, how many decades did Ric Flair actually wrestle? Ric Flair, started out in 1972. I pretty much saw his whole career besides maybe the first 2 years because he was over the AWA. So, yeah, he was in the AWA. So I pretty much didn't see his first 2 years. I saw him. First time I saw him was in 1974. That's when he came into the area that I live in, the Mid-Atlantic Championship area, which is Jim Crockett Promotions. He came in 1974, and that's where he made his name at, man. He made his name at Jim Crockett Promotions. Jim Crockett Promotions was a regional territory out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and pretty much they took over North Carolina and South Carolina and Virginia. They pretty much ran out of mostly their biggest shows. Biggest shows was put in Charlotte, North Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina, and Roanoke, Virginia was probably the biggest was their biggest platforms until they ended up taking over Georgia Championship Wrestling in 1984. And when they got 1984, 1985, when they bought out Georgia Championship Wrestling. They started rocking out in Atlanta, having big shows out at the Omni in Atlanta. But pretty much their hotbeds, man, was Greensboro #1. Greensboro was #1 in North Carolina. Charlotte, Greenville, South Carolina, Roanoke, Virginia, and let's see, I think Raleigh, North Carolina, they did pretty good there too. And Williamsburg, Virginia was the places that they really made their mark, man. Back in the 70s and 80s is where Jim Crockett Promotions really made their mark. And Ric Flair brought in so much money for the company. Let's see. And then later on in the 80s, late 80s, mid to late 80s, Chicago, Baltimore, Maryland, Chicago, those was hotbeds for this. Those was hotbeds too for the NWA, for Jim Crockett Promotions, as they expanded. And Ric Flair led that expansion, man, because of who he was. And when he became the world champion, he was the NWA world champion. He was able to propel them to where they was able to pretty much expand nationwide and become this big conglomerate. And Jim Crockett Promotions pretty much took over the NWA. All right, so guys, let me get into this thing, man. Let me get into this. I want to get into these comments, but basically, guys, we will talk a little bit about what's going on in wrestling today. I know you guys are going to come in here with different comments, but most of the things that me and Chris are going to talk about on here, if Chris get on here sometime soon, I don't know what in the world he's doing. I just got a text from him, but we will be talking about Ric Flair for the most part, guys, straight up. Let's see. All right. Yeah, I definitely don't want to get off too much on a tangent. Like I said, we'll talk about the other stuff every now and then. But yeah, guys, I do not want to get too far from the subject. All right. But yeah, appreciate each and every one of you guys coming in, man. But yeah, let me get these comments because yeah, y'all are piling up real quick while I'm sitting here talking. All right, let's see. All right, JL says, Harrington, what's up, JL? JL, damn little Nate is 90. Yeah, man, hey, seems like it. It seems like it. Rally Sports says, hi, JL Green Randall. JL, sorry I missed the chamber. Glad I tapped out early. Turns out it was just a glorified house show. Wasn't as well, JL, it was a decent show. Wasn't as great as it could have been. What's up, Christopher Burton?
Oh, what's going on, man? What's going on?
JL says, hello, Rally. Rally Sports says, is he 90? Oh my God, no, he's not 90 years old, Rally. He's 75 years old today, man. JL just tripping. All right.
He looked like he's 90.
Wow. No, he's not 90. Is that right, Harry? 90. He's definitely should never have a wrestling match ever. He might look 90, Bradley, but he's not 90 years old, man. Robert Brown, Lafayette, Indiana in the building. What's happening, brother? What's up, Robert?
What's up?
All right, Rally Sports says, hi, Robert. Let's see. JL, when do you think Flair's prime ended? In Evolution or in WCW? I will get to that in just a moment.
Oh, and Harry, we lost Harry. Well, he lost him, got a phone call, man. All right. Robert Brown, Ric Flair drip. Woo! Yeah, man. Will Rally Sport. Woo! Man, what's going on, y'all? Glad y'all came in, man. JL, Flair is still in his prime, he says. Well, that's what he say, but we know otherwise. Yeah, we know otherwise. That's what he say. We know otherwise. Robert Brown, what's happening, Chris? What's going on, Robert? JL, Christopher acting like he in New Japan with that background. Hey, man. Hey, that's where I got it from. You see it down there at the bottom, right down the bottom, man. New Japan.
All right, can you hear me, Chris?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. I know you got a phone call, boy. You had a phone call.
That was my wife, man. That was my wife.
But you got to go get it in about 4 minutes, don't you?
What's that?
You got to go get it in about 4 minutes.
Nah, man. She closing, man. She was just telling me where the pot roast was at, in the bottom of the refrigerator. So telling me to make some stuff with it.
But all right, where he looks horrible for 74, boy. Yeah, he do look rough, man. But he had a rough life though, man. Been through a plane crash, man. Partying every doggone night, man.
Shoot, yeah, drinking all the time, man. I mean, like flipping crazy. But let's see.
Will Rally Sport. He is 75. You just got me the JL. And JL said, yikes, boy.
All right, Robert Brown, what's happening? Will Rally Sport. Will Rally Sport says, hi, Chris. Will Rally Sport says, Chris, looks like you're going to have an interview, bro. Laugh out loud. Cool background. Yeah, Chris was cleaning himself up, man. Chris was getting himself looking good. Looking good.
Yeah, I had to make it look good. Make it good.
Yeah. But look, guys. Hey, Nature Boy, JL, he definitely wasn't in his prime when he was with Evolution. He was
No,
way out
man.
of his prime.
Yeah, no, what?
Yeah, Ric Flair, when he first went there in 91, 92, I would say he was already out of his prime by that time.
Flair was in his prime in 47, man. That was when he was
his
in his
prime
prime,
ended probably around 89. His prime years was probably between, I say his best years was between 78, 82. I mean, his greatest years as far as his greatest performance.
You sure it went between 1916 and 83, man?
Man,
sure?
Be quiet. 78 to 82, 83, where he was at the top of his game. Now, Ric Flair will tell you different between 86, 89. Now, 86 to 89 is probably where he just really just elevated himself as far as, just being that master. But as far as the most explosive wrestler I've seen from him, most explosive wrestling that I saw from him was between 78, 82. And his prime, man, ended around 89, 90. Is around 90 is when his prime ended. And in 1990, he was at, let's see, how long ago was that, Chris? 1990, 34 years ago?
Yeah.
34 years ago. Yeah, around, so he was right, 41 years old? Yeah, around when he was about 41 years old. His prime already had ended. And then he went up to the WWE. He still won the world title. Now, at that time, Ric Flair still could lick 97 to 98% of the wrestlers out there. That's according to Pro Wrestling Illustrated. And I knew he still probably was the best technical wrestler, not technical wrestler, but the most skillful as far as overall ability. He still had that, but there was guys who was coming up at that time who was taking his place. You had Sting. You had Bret Hart. You said, let's see, you had
Shawn Michaels.
No, Shawn Michaels not in 91. No, not in 91. Shawn Michaels was still doing that Marty Jannetty thing, man. Let's see. I'll say those two guys right there probably was his biggest threat at that time as far as skill wise. It could take over as the big main guy in wrestling that everybody look at and say, okay, this right here is the guy. These are the guys. These guys were the biggest threats to Flair. As Flair, everybody looking at Flair as the best in the world. Now they were saying Flair was the best in the world back then. Not, that didn't just now happen out of the blue. They were saying he was the best in the world at that time, just like they were saying that about Michael Jordan. When Michael Jordan was playing, Ric Flair already had that distinction of being the best wrestler that ever lived. So it wasn't something that happened after his career or close to the end of his career. When he was in his prime, people was looking at him like that. That's how incredible he was. But like I said, you had people like Sting. You had Bret Hart. Now I have to give it to Bret Hart. Now Sting was a great wrestler, but he was not on that level of Ric Flair when it boiled down to it. He just was more energetic. He was young. Bret Hart had the technical ability, the skills to pretty much overtake Ric Flair, and he actually did. He was the one who won the title from Ric Flair. So, but besides those two, man, I can't think of anybody else at that time that was pretty much on his level. What about you, Chris?
At that time, no, man. There was really nobody out there, man, that could really touch what he was doing at that time.
Exactly.
Like I said, later on, Shawn Michaels started coming to his own when he became a singles wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
When he became a singles wrestler, Shawn Michaels was taking over. Then it became basically Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
You really didn't have no true technical wrestlers like that because them guys were getting older, man.
Yeah, they were.
You had your, I think Nick Bockwinkel was still doing his thing every once in a while.
Yeah.
Let me see. Bob Backlund was kind of fading away.
Right.
So I mean, the old guard was, they were about to hang it up, man. So this younger generation was about to start off, man. And then like you said, you still had your Bobby Eatons and all that, but Bobby Eaton, man, JL, not no Snooker, man. Snooker was never technical. Snooker was never technical, man. No, he was a high flyer / bruiser, man. He wasn't
great wrestler, JL.
But technical, no.
And plus, Jimmy Snooker was getting old too at that time. Snooker started before Flair, man. Believe it or not, I mean, Snooker started in 69 or 67, one or two. He started before Flair. He was older than Flair. Pretty much, like I say, Flair, he started going, taking a pretty much dive. Now, somebody who probably was in more, even though I think he's older than Flair or about the same age, who could have kept going as a technical wrestler, but he didn't want to do that. He kept wanting to roll with his gimmick, and that's Ted DiBiase. Ted DiBiase was a great, before he became the $1 Million Man. When he was in Memphis, he was over in not WCW, but
Georgia.
Jim Crockett Promotions, or when he was doing all that, man. This guy was incredible, very, very good technical wrestler. But he was the $1 Million Man at this time. You know, that's what he did. You know. Now, Roddy Piper, who's basically the same age, a little bit younger than Flair, Roddy Piper, but Roddy Piper wasn't a technical wrestler. But I'm talking about as far as having the overall ability to carry the sport, as far as carry the sport in a wrestling sense, you had those guys. You had Ted DiBiase, you had a Roddy Piper that was still out there. Let's see. Man, it's hard to really think of anybody else. I mean, you know, I guess you could say Paul Orndorff, but he wasn't a technical wrestler either. He didn't have the overall package.
Yeah,
so, yeah, but you know, you had Hulk Hogan. Okay, Hulk Hogan was still around. That's what made, you know, as far as Ric Flair, is him getting into his prime years. Now, Hulk Hogan was going, you know, he was on a downslope at that time too. But he still, like I said, he didn't have to do all those things that Flair was doing.
He was a draw, man. He was a draw. His name was
a draw. Yeah,
so he just had to do his kick, punch, leg drop. Body
yeah, that's it.
That was it. You know, that was. I mean, come on, man. If that's all you got to do for a night's work and getting paid that kind of money,
yeah.
Hey, limit me to 4 moves. I'll be happy. Yeah. Shoot, man.
Wait a minute. When did Steamboat win the title from Flair?
I have no idea.
I think he won in 93 because Flair went back to WCW, won in 93, 94. I think Steamboat beat him in 89. Yeah, Steamboat Steamboat was on a down slope in his career at that time. Steamboat could have been one of those guys who pretty much could have took that. But Steamboat pretty much ruined himself when with his wife. His wife kept coming out. And people turned away from Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah,
Ricky Steamboat.
Don't nobody care about that. Don't nobody want to see all that, man. But you want to be, I'm the great baby face. I'm the great family guy.
Yeah.
Don't nobody care about that crap, man. Get your money in that wrestle.
Man, everybody was cheering the living. I mean, they was living daylights out of him, man. His popularity soared when he was in that trilogy with Flair in 89. Mm-hmm. It just went off the charts, man. And you know, he didn't just have the WCW fans, he had the WWE fans behind him because everybody remembered him as Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Yeah.
So his popularity was way up there, and people was cheering him like crazy. But he started bringing that lady out with him all the time,
and his kid,
Flair's title, bringing his kid out, bringing her out all the time, and telling everybody he wasn't like Ric Flair. He had a different lifestyle and everything, and the fans got tired of it. They turned on him, started booing him, and Flair won the title back, and that was it for Steamboat, man. That his career took a nosedive. And then I think he won a World Tag Team title. He won World Tag Team titles with Dustin Rhodes, and then he teamed up with Shane Douglas. When he teamed up with Shane Douglas and they won a world title, I didn't want to say I stopped watching Ricky Steamboat. Now, Ricky Steamboat was, when it boils down to it, he was my favorite wrestler up until he started bringing his wife out there. And Ric Flair became, because it always was Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair. Over the years, it was always Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair, except for when Steamboat was up in WWE. Steamboat was still one of my favorite wrestlers, but I didn't see him every week like I did Ric Flair. So he became my number 2. But when he came back to WCW, he was my favorite again. You know, when he was going up, he was going out to Flair's title and everything. I was all the way with him, all the way live. And then he kept bringing that woman out there, man. And I was like, oh my gosh, why does he keep doing this?
Why you keep saying that woman that was his wife, man? You act like she was some strange woman. like he cheating on her. He keep bringing his woman out. That's his wife, man.
He kept bringing his wife out there, man. She's not his wife no more. So that's probably why I said that. But
like you bringing a strange woman out or something.
She had her own ambition, man, from what Ric Flair said, and all of them said, you know, she wanted to be a model. And she was going to use Ricky Steamboat's popularity, his career, to further her agenda. And
that didn't work.
No, it didn't work. No, she pretty much ruined him, and that was it for her.
Ruined herself too.
Yeah, she did. That's what I'm saying. That was it for her after she pretty much ruined him. But wow, man, let's get back up. Back to the comments, Chris. I don't know where you stopped at.
Yeah, JL, I thought he was in his mid-80s. That's bad. Robert Brown, no rehab can help Ric Flair drip. Oh, heck no, can't no rehab help that Joker,
man. No, man, heck no.
JL, do you believe Flair is saying he didn't know wrestling was predetermined up until his first match? He didn't.
He probably didn't, JL.
Man, dude,
I mean,
you gotta think about it, man. Wrestling was like the mafia. You know it exists, but you don't know how it works until you get inside.
exactly.
And even then, you still don't know really how it works.
Yeah, I mean, Ric Flair started his professional wrestling career in 1972. Man, look, the 50s and 60s. He grew up during the 50s and 60s, man. He's a year younger than my mom.
Yeah.
You know, and Chris' mom would have been 76, I think, 75, 76.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they grew up in the 50s and 60s, man. Wrestling was on TV. People believed that stuff. We believed it when we was growing up. 70s, 80s, we had no clue. Nobody had a clue until Hulk Hogan, Vince McMahon came out.
And that was in the 90s.
Exactly. He pulled the rug off under the whole thing. Even though people, you know, there was already hints out there. Of course, Shawn Michaels and Shawn Michaels and Triple H and all them did their thing.
Curtain call.
They even did some stuff in WCW that pretty much pulled the rug off under it. But people still was believing it. And when Vince came out there and said it's just a show, that was it, man. He was on what was he
Monday Night Raw, man. Monday Night Raw.
No, he didn't say it on Monday Night Raw. He said it on one of the big primetime, one of the big news channels, man. Nightly News or whatever, World Nightly News or whatever, one of them big time night shows, man. They did a 30-minute interview with him. Yeah, like Larry King Live. It wasn't Larry King, but it was one of the big guys. It was it was one of them big time dudes, man. Let's see. Dang,
Donahue or somebody, boy.
No, it wasn't Phil Donahue, man. One of the nighttime guys. The guys that used to let's see.
Who? Johnny Carson?
No, I ain't talking about a talk show host, Chris. I'm talking about a nightly news guy.
I don't know.
There was a lot of big time news guys back then, and back then journalism was real. You know, it was straight real back then.
Yeah,
but yeah, he was on with one of those guys, either Larry King or can't think of the other guys. Walter Mondale. I think he did with Walter Mondale. You remember how big Mondale was?
No, I ain't never heard of Walter Cronkite. Yeah,
I mean, no, not Mondale. Cronkite. Yeah, there's Walter Mondale too. I'm sorry, man, but yeah, Walter Cronkite. Cronkite. Yeah, he did an interview with him, 30 minutes. Told the whole thing. I still got it on tape, man, on VHS.
Man, I remember when he said on Raw, man, talking about the days of eating. No, that's when he introduced Attitude Era. That's when he introduced Attitude Era.
But yeah, he said, he had it on there, man. That junk was all over the nightly news, man. And everybody the next day, man, it was just huge. Because like I say, the internet was new, had been around for about a couple years. The internet was new and everything. It just went all over the place. And that pretty much ended it right there, JL. But this was in the 90s when we like, oh snap. Because when Stone Cold Steve Austin was doing this thing, nobody knew. We didn't know at first when he first started that. That happened around 97, 98. I think 98 is when they completely took off, pulled the rug off under it. So, hey, everybody was, but hey, they still kept their fans. They still kept a lot of the fans. But, it's when the show just went haywire. And then people said, okay, it's scripted anyway. I'm not going to watch it if it's going to be this dumb.
And that confirmed a lot of people's beliefs too, man. That confirmed a lot of people's beliefs.
Yeah, because a lot of people
and it did hurt. It did hurt, man. It did hurt wrestling. It did.
I mean, it put a hurting on the sport. There's no doubt.
But it's still here though, which is crazy. It's still here, man. So I mean, go figure.
That's true. All right, man. Go ahead with some more comments.
JL, do you believe? Okay, got that. JL said again, did he not get informed while he was training? No, he didn't get informed, man.
Man, they will break your leg during training.
Watch. Yeah, that's what happened to Hulk Hogan on his first day of training. Hiro Matsuda posted his leg and broke his shin.
Yeah, they don't play around with you, man.
Not back then.
Play around with you back then.
Back then, oh no.
I mean, when Chris when Chris trained, I knew it wasn't real, but they were beating the crap out of Chris.
Yeah, and I came years later.
Yeah, they were beating the living daylights out of Chris. I'm like, what in the world? This stuff don't supposed to be like that, man. Like, hey, that's when I realized, hey, they make you feel it. They make you feel it. Yes, it might It might not be straight up to where they beating the living daylights out of you, but they beat you. They beat you, boy.
You feel it, boy. That man.
They were putting it on Chris, man. I'm like, what in the heck? Because I think Chris probably thought it wasn't like that, man. But yeah, Chris left out there. Oh my gosh. I mean, and it was real. I mean, Chris, when he was getting hit, Chris was like, oh my gosh. And I was worried about it for a minute. Well, I'm ready to go. I'm about to jaw a few of those guys, Chris.
I didn't know what to do, but I didn't know what to do, man, because I was like, man, what the world? I was like, man.
I didn't suspect.
I was in such shock, but I was just like, hey, whoa. Man, Harry, think about it, man. When you get into your first real fight, you be like, okay, I'm ready to fight. But when they coming at you so quick and hard, you be like, wait a minute, this ain't whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
Catch you off guard. You ain't got time to really just process it and get yourself together.
That's true, man.
And that's what was happening, man. I was just like, oh my God.
It was crazy, man. It was crazy. It was an experience. Yeah. I was really stunned. I was sitting there, I was like, wow, man, they picking him up, they slamming him down. Man, they joke a doggone throwing him to the ropes with a clothesline. Chris was like, oh my gosh. I was like, wow, man. I like put the boots to him. I'm like, goodness sake, should I step in, man, and just start? And if they attack me, I'm gonna start jawing jokers. But I was like, man, I'm gonna go in there and start fighting for real. And they would be like, man, it ain't real. But I tell you what stopped me, Chris, is when they were popping you upside the head, man. And I didn't see no blood. I didn't see no bruises going on. So yeah. I'm like, it must not really. They're really not hitting him, but they making him feel it. They were
making me feel it. Now they were touching me. They were touching me.
It was kind of like slap boxing, but a little bit harder. So I'm like, wow, man, that jump was crazy.
All right, JL says the Steamboat matches were only good ones if you ask me. Ooh.
Okay. Hey, JL,
now I can see from JL's point those series because they had what? 3 matches?
Yeah, they had 3 matches in '89, man. They was
those greatest matches of all time. I can say that. I can see from JL's point, those 3 were some of the good ones. But you got to go back a little bit further when he was Dusty Rhodes, Nikita.
Oh yeah,
Ricky Morton, Lex, Barry Windham. Barry Windham. That was gosh.
Go back and look at the Sting. His match with Sting. The first Clash of Champions. That's one of the greatest matches of all time. Go look at
man. I go back to the hour time limit draw in Columbia when he wrestled Barry Windham.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. He had better matches than that. But I'm just saying, for something modern, go back and watch. Go back and watch the first match with Sting. It was the match of the year. Not in my opinion.
That's what made Sting's career.
That propelled Sting. Yes. But Ric Flair has made so many people's career, man. So many people's career.
Yeah.
Straight up. All right, go ahead.
And that's one thing, and that's another thing, JL, too, in this business, man. Yes, you have an ego. Yes, you have a swagger and a confidence about yourself, and you feel that you can't be touched and you better than the next man. But you have to also have a extreme level of humility.
Oh, yeah.
To put somebody over, knowing you're going to lose. So that's what Flair did. Even though everybody knew Flair is the man. Flair is the champion. He is the guy. He's the number one. He's the big kahuna. But Flair was like, okay, I've been in this business long enough. I know who got it and I know who don't or who could possibly have it. I can just look at him and see it.
Oh, yeah.
He's been in long enough he can spot him a mile away. So when he saw Sting, he was like, he's a little rough around the edges, but he's gonna get there. He got something.
Oh yeah.
And as Sting went through his matches and progressed and got better, and finally they got him to the point where he was gonna face Ric Flair. Flair was like, okay, yeah. Now I see after you going through what you're going through to get to me, you ready. You ready now. You ready. Yeah. And I'm gonna do you a solid favor. Even though we're gonna go to a time limit draw, you ain't gonna get my belt. But after this match, everybody will know who you are. You will be a household name. And that's what he did. He made Sting look like $1 trillion.
Yeah, he did. And you know what? And the person, like I say, another person that he saw it out of, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Well, it was stunning Steve Austin. He wanted to put Steve Austin over, but Eric Bischoff was like, no. He like, no, don't. I don't want you putting there Steve Austin over. And that's when Ric Flair pretty much basically was losing his because he wanted to put Steve Austin over, or he wanted to put the other guy, man, the Midnight Express guy over, Bobby Eaton.
Bobby Eaton, yeah.
Eaton. It was either Bobby Eaton or Stunning Steve Austin. Those are the guys he wanted.
Yeah, it would definitely been Steve for me, because Bobby Eaton, even though Bobby Eaton was a hell of a talent,
Oh, he was.
No mic skills. So he wouldn't have been believable worth nothing.
I didn't understand that. I mean, I understood Rick, Rick was saying that, and I understood that Bobby Eaton was a great talent. I knew that. Yeah. But I'm like, Rick, what do you see in this guy that I don't see?
Exactly, because if you put a belt on this guy and he had the tag team, he had the TV.
Right.
How many times out of those times, Harry, when he had those belts on multiple occasions,
did he do an interview
by himself or even talk?
None. And
if he did, it was only a few words at most.
This the most memorable conversation I remember him having on TV, as far as in an interview, is when Arn Anderson, when they had the conversation with the Horsemen, and they was going up against Arn Anderson and Tully, I think, for the U.S. belts. That's when the U.S. belts was out there. Mm-hmm. And Bobby Eaton started calling Tully Blanchard, not Tully Blanchard. He started calling Arn Anderson a wimp, because he was fussing with Tully at first. And he said, Arn, he said, I'm not afraid of you, you wimp. And this was during the interview session. And after that, you never heard him speak again on TV. They never let him speak again. But people was getting all hyped up, and I'm like, man, that's the first time I had heard him talk. I had heard him talk once or twice before, but Jim Cornette did most of the speaking for him and Stan Lane. And I'm like,
or Stan did some talking.
Yeah, exactly. But my thing about it, I said, Bobby Eaton, okay, he's a great wrestler and everything, but Bobby Eaton was not dedicated to his body. He was not dedicated to keeping his body up. But I was like, man, if this guy would work out, do some things with his body, he could be one of the greatest of all time. But he wouldn't do that. He couldn't talk. So I'm like, what? I'm like, Rick. I'm like, if he can't be motivated.
Most of America don't see.
Yeah. I said, if he can't be motivated as the TV champ, world TV champ, and motivated as world tag team champ, and he's been in the spotlight, because that went on the Midnight Express dominance was about 4 to 6 years, wasn't it? It was a while.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm just like, if he can't be dedicated like that with those titles, what's going to make you think he's going to be dedicated to be the world champ and keep his body in shape and look good in front of the cameras? Because Rick was going out there partying every night.
Good promo.
Yeah, Rick was partying every night, drinking every night and stuff like that, and still kept it up.
And with that work schedule, man, that would have killed anybody.
Yeah, his work schedule. And Ric Flair wrestled, man. That joke. Sometimes he said he wrestled 9 times in a week. They had, he would wrestle double shows. But
Monday through Saturday and twice on Sunday.
Yeah, that guy was incredible, man. So, but wow, man. But Stone Cold Steve Austin, I'm glad he saw that in him. I saw it from the get-go. I'm like, man, this guy's incredible. But I'm going to say this. Even if he would have got that WCW world champion, he would have been the world champion in WCW. Stone Cold Steve Austin. He never would have got to that level of if he was stunning Steve Austin, won the WCW world championship. He wouldn't have never got to that level of what he got as Stone Cold Steve Austin in the WWE or WWF. But he never would have got to that point. All right, I don't know where Chris left off, but I'm going to go and find that, and I'm going to get to everything. Okay, but JL, yeah, there was a lot of great matches, JL, a lot of great matches. Ric Flair, that's not the only great match, man. He did not become, they didn't start calling him the greatest wrestler in the world, man, ever, because of his trilogy with Steamboat. Hey, he did so many more things that was great, JL. All right, JL, Sting Surfer was not as good as the Crow. No, what? Nah. Well, I think Chris would agree with you, but in my opinion, I think the Surfer Sting was way better than Crow. He was bigger at that time. He was faster, and yeah, I think he was on steroids at that time. But hey, that Sting, I like that Sting a lot better. Robert Brown, Mark Drake said in an interview when Flair, Orton, and Triple H was traveling together, all Flair wanted to talk about was some hoochies. I'm sure. All right, JL, do you think Flair not being in WWF during the Attitude Era hurt potential matchups on versus Flair? Not really, JL. Not really. No. I think Flair would have been great during the Attitude Era. If he would have stayed, he should have stayed. Just like he said, he made a mistake. He should have stayed. Yeah, there could have been some great matchups. I think him and Brett probably could have ended up still having a great series of matches. Him and Owen, there's a lot of great things that could have happened with Ric Flair, but he was past his prime, man. He was past his prime during the Attitude Era. JL says Snooker. Rayshawn Williams says the Steiners. Yeah, the Steiners was great, man. And you know what? If I would say this about Scott Steiner, if Scott Steiner, Rayshawn Williams, man, said the Steiners. But Rayshawn, glad that you joined the Straight Up Wrestling family.
Man. Welcome in, man.
Before, but appreciate you joining, man, and hope you're a member of the Straight Up Wrestling family. I may have seen you one time before, but I'm not sure. But yeah, the Steiners, the Steiners, great tag team and everything. But I'm gonna go ahead and say this about Scott. Scott had the potential, and this is before he became Big Papa Pump. All those muscles and everything took away from his flexibility. This guy
gave him a heck of a look, though. It gave him
a heck of a look. Could have went down as one of the top 5 wrestlers of all time. Mm-hmm. But those muscles, no more Frankensteiner. A lot of those suplexes, those variation suplexes that he had, all that stuff went away. Not all of it, but most of it, for the most part, went away. So, but the Steiners, as far as a tag team, they definitely one of the top 3 tag teams of all time. JL, what do you attribute Flair's downfall in the ring? Injuries, too many matches and bumps for the extracurricular activities, clubs, drinking, drugs, snow angels. No, none of that stuff, man. Ric Flair was on his top of his game until WCW decided to hire. It was Ted Turner. He hired a pizza guy. That pizza guy came in there, took all of Flair's confidence away from him. Told him to cut his hair. This guy did not know Ric.
Matter of fact, JL, let me ask you this: do you have Netflix? Yeah. If you have Netflix, JL. No, not Netflix.
Peacock.
Either Peacock or Disney Plus.
Yeah.
One of the two. If you have one of those two, go look up Ric Flair's, not this last documentary, but yeah, it will actually be on Disney because it's ESPN. So if you got Disney Plus, go look up the sports section, 30 for 30s, jail, if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Where they do the documentaries on sports people and stuff. They did one on Ric Flair. Watch that, and that will tell you of everything that Ric Flair went through for his training, how he got into business, and everything that he did, man, up until a certain point. But it will basically give you a highlight, oversight of his career and inside things about his career and stuff and whatever. But if you got Disney Plus, go check that out, man.
Yeah, so that's what happened, JL. They hired a pizza guy who really didn't know about wrestling. And all he did was look at what was going on in WWF, and he wanted to have those characters. I mean, WWE, even though everybody, even though it was going down at that time, it was going down, and they was losing popularity. They had all those characters. It still was big. Vince McMahon still had that perception out there as this big, huge conglomerate. And even though he had Red Roosters and Repo Man, he had all that goofy stuff going on. They still
jobs. Yep.
It still look like the NFL compared to compared to WCW. WCW pretty much look like 2A baseball, 3A baseball. Compared to WWE. That's how big it was. And so he was looking over at that and saying, "Oh, we need to be more like that." But yeah, he wanted to take Ricky Steamboat. He told Steamboat he wanted to name him Spartacus. Wanted him to be Spartacus. Wanted him to
put an earring in his ear and everything.
Exactly. Kevin Sullivan and all those guys said, "Why are you trying to change Flair?" And he took if Flair was the world champion, he didn't know nothing about Flair. But Flair started losing his confidence, man. And when you shake a champion's confidence, like say a boxer, take a fighter, MMA fighter. Once you lose, once that sense of invincibility, even if you're a street fighter, once you lose a fight, you lose that confidence.
That's
and
way.
You start fighting a different way. You start hesitating. Ric Flair became a different person after that.
Yeah, he did.
And he had a hard time getting it back. He really didn't get it back to Triple H. Really, those guys got with it.
And it took some years then.
It took years, and you know what? It took like 2 or 3. It took a while before Triple H and all them convinced him, "Hey man, you Ric Flair," and he never really got it back. even though he beat Big Van Vader, and I mean that was a great match, but he never got that back, man. He won that title when he came back, but he never got back everything that he had. And then Eric Bischoff brought in Hulk Hogan and everything, and when they brought him in, Eric Bischoff told Hogan, "You're gonna have to job the Flair."
Yeah,
because that's what Ted Turner and all them was wanting. But Ric Flair said, "No, I put him over." But
he's like, "I don't mind." He's like, "I don't mind." He's like, "Yeah."
He said, "I don't mind. I'll put him over." He put him over,
and then Flair was losing to everybody.
And all them came in. He said, "I put them over too," because that's who Ric Flair is.
Man, look, Ric Flair would have lost to us if Eric Bischoff had his way.
Exactly. And yeah, he lost his confidence, JL. But you know what? The great thing, only thing I can really say, the great thing for him was his legacy was already established. That's what made it great for him he was already established. He already did so much in the business at that time. Even he was in his early 40s to mid 40s. He did so much in the business, and the legacy was already set. So many wrestlers already was wanting to be like him. So man, big ups to Ric Flair, but I tell you what, I don't never think he until now, probably now, because he sees so many people emulating him, so many NFL football players, rappers, so many people as far as in pop culture has emulated the things that he did, and he wasn't as big as Hulk Hogan. He wasn't bigger than Randy Savage.
Nope.
But there's so many people that's Ultimate Warrior was bigger than Flair.
Yeah.
So many people have took what he did and taken it to, like I said, it's in pop culture. He became a pop culture icon. So now he can look at himself and say, yeah, I am the greatest who ever did it. But yeah, the greatest showman. But Ric Flair sit there, you ask him, he'll tell you Shawn Michaels is the greatest wrestler ever.
Yes, he will. He will
tell you Shawn Michaels is the greatest wrestler ever. And that is a huge statement. Huge statement. So you have to go back and look at Shawn Michaels and like, wow. But if Shawn Michaels.
But Shawn says the opposite. Shawn's like, no, it's Rick.
Oh yeah, of course, because Shawn emulated. Yeah. So of course he's gonna say that. But as far as Shawn's ring work was excellent.
Oh gosh, yeah, it was.
His ring work was excellent. I mean, he had to overcome a lot of things. He was smaller than Flair, so there's a lot of things he had to overcome in the ring. Even though Flair had lost 2 inches, and he was 60 pounds lighter than when he started, because he was 6'2", 298 when he started. He lost down to like 238, 248. 238, 232. Yeah. He was 6 feet tall. He still was a big man. He still was a good sized guy and pretty, brawny, as far as his muscles. So he still was a good sized guy. But Shawn Michaels didn't have that. He didn't have that size. He didn't have the strength that Ric Flair. So he had to overcome a lot of different things that Flair had. And Flair could bench 500 pounds at one time. He was strong. He was a power lifter, power lifter. He trained with Ken Patera, who was the strongest man in the world at one time.
Yeah, all right. And Flair didn't. He necessarily never had the muscles, but Flair was just big and bulky, man.
Yeah, he was bulky. Yeah, definitely. All right, man. Go ahead, Chris. Where we at?
All right. Okay. Robert Brown says, "I bet you Ric Flair's partying like crazy tonight."
Oh, I'm sure he is, man.
I'm sure he is, man. I'm sure he is.
Hopefully, I just hope he just take it easy. Because like I said, I want Ric Flair to be around for, a few more years, man.
Watching that match, I didn't think we were going to make it after that. Well,
man. This dude was completely dehydrated, and you know what?
And then went party afterward. I'm like.
And you know what? Ric Flair, but it just goes to show you, when you get to a certain age, you lose the sensibility. You lose your sensibility of where you lose your train of thought of things you used to do before you went in the ring. Or things that really got, because look, man, I used to run like crazy, run cross country after I stopped playing, stopped playing sports and everything, running cross country and all that stuff. But I used to hydrate all the time. I don't hydrate. Yeah. I never hydrate as much as I need to. So I can see myself going out there doing something stupid. My mind will tell me I can do this.
Of course.
And my heart might say you still can do a lot of these things, but my body will let me down because I'm not keeping it up the way I used to keep it up, or I'm not doing the necessary things that it's going to take for me to go out there and run, 3.5, 4 miles. I'm not doing the necessary things for me to go out there and play basketball for 2 hours or jump in the boxing ring and do some things. So yeah, that right there, when you get older, especially like saying Ric Flair's state, who drinks all the time, partying, probably outside
Yeah.
of autographs and everything. You know, he had no clue what he was doing and went into that ring, and he was drunk when he went into the ring.
Yeah, he was,
Sad.
man, because he partied the night before, man.
Exactly, sad.
And then after the match, he went out and I'm like, boy, you just don't learn, Rick. You just
Yeah,
don't
that's
learn.
crazy, man. All right, Chris, go ahead and roll with it.
All right, man.
Ray Sean Williams.
Ray Sean said 1989. JL Steamboat was only good when he was a dragon. Okay, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day.
Yeah.
And Harry can talk to you about that one because that's all I really knew was a dragon.
Well, see, when Chris, that's when Chris first saw him. That's when he was the dragon when Chris first started watching wrestling. But Ricky Steamboat was, God, that Joker was amazing. That Joker was amazing, JL. Amazing. That's all I gotta say. All right, JL. Right. Flair showed his family too much also.
No, he didn't.
No, not on TV.
Steamboat did.
Yeah, Steamboat did that. Flair didn't do that. All right. JL, Nancy was Steamboat's manager. No, Nancy was not.
Talking about woman, man.
I know he's talking about woman. Woman was never Steamboat's manager. What is he talking about?
She was one of the many valets that he might have came out with.
Yeah, she came out with Flair a lot, but I don't never remember her being with Steamboat. She might have a couple times. All right, JL, woman was there. All right. Ray Sean Williams, first time catching this live. Appreciate you catching this live. Appreciate you on with us, Ray Sean Williams. And thanks for that 1989, man. Straight up. But yeah, that was the year that Steamboat beat him, took the title. All right, JL, there was TV in the 70s. Yikes. Of course, man. Be quiet.
Come on, man.
All right, JL, Vincent said it's an entertainment because they didn't want to pay for the tax of it being considered a sport in the newspapers and were sued, if my memory serves me right. Yep, they wasn't sued. He just didn't want to pay the athletic commission. You know, so and the athletic commission up in New York, New Jersey, one of the two that they was trying to charge him. They had went up. The fees was big for a company like him. He didn't want to pay it, and so he decided to go ahead and say that. So I guess Vince wanted to keep more money in his pocket, but when it boils down to it, it hurt him in the long run. When it boils down to it. All right, let's see. Ray Sean Williams, it was Nightline. Yeah, Nightline. That's what it was, Ray Sean. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, JL, clean leg break on Hogan. What goes around comes around. Man, you'll stop.
Come on, man.
JL, you don't even know who broke his leg, man. Wow. Who was that who broke his leg, Chris?
His trainer, Hiro Matsuda.
Hiro Matsuda.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, I knew who it was, but I couldn't think of the name right then and there. I wanted you to go ahead and say it.
Hiro Matsuda, the same person who trained Sting.
Yeah. All right, Magnum says, greetings, Chris and Harry. Happy birthday to the Nature Boy. Woo, no doubt.
Matter of fact, hold on. He trained Hogan, he trained Sting, and he trained Ron Simmons.
He trained a lot of people.
But them the three that I remember.
Yeah, he trained a lot of people.
And every last one of them Hall of Famers.
Oh, yeah. All right. Let's see. All right. Robert Brown says, if I may ask, Chris, what year was you training?
That was, 99 to, 99, 2000?
No. It was before that. No, it had to be around 98, 99, something like that.
98, 99.
Yeah, 98, 99. Yeah. All right, let's see. All right, JL Christopher got humbled, clean beaten. They were clean training him. Goodness sake, man.
God almighty, boy. Y'all.
All right, JL.
I just say this. Don't ever let me hear about y'all training, but I'm going to see how y'all come through it, boy. I'm like, that was a clean chair shot right there with just outside JL's head to teach him how to take a chair shot.
And you know what? JL, he probably ended up doing something like that too. He probably ended up training for wrestling one day. JL said, I thought Sting was only popular for the Crow character. Heck no, man.
No, man. You got Surfer Sting and all kinds of, man. What?
Yeah. He said Sting was only good for the Crow character or something like that. Whatever.
Oh, man. Sting was popular way.
Yeah, big time popular too. Robert Brown, Ric Flair versus Eric Bischoff 2024. Woo! I think Bischoff probably could take Flair now. Back then, no. Flair would have killed him. But now,
well, I don't know because Bischoff had some martial arts skills, but He was a black belt, boy. He would have put some kicks on Flair, boy.
He would have lost, man. He would have lost. He would have lost. Back
yeah,
then,
the Horseman would have jumped him. The Horseman would have jumped him.
Probably so, but he would have lost. Hey, what's the name? You know how Ernest the Cat Miller got a contract, right?
How?
He beat the living daylights out of Bischoff.
Well, man, look at Cat Miller, man. Look at Cat Miller.
Ernest the Cat Miller said he beat him so bad he offered him a contract. He gave it. That's how he got his contract. He trained. He went into he did a sparring session with Ernest the Cat Miller. Beat the living crap out of him. But man, Bischoff. Oh gosh, man. I know he trained in karate, man. But he's up there talking about he can beat up Vince. I don't think he can beat Vince, man.
I wouldn't even try to fight Vince right now.
Vince would kill that fool, man.
Man, I wouldn't even try to fight Vince right now, though.
I know that's a big dude, man. That dude is huge. But no, he said on his podcast how he can beat Vince McMahon now.
No,
I'm like, God, you must.
Vince is probably what, almost 80 something, and I
78, about 79.
Yeah, I wouldn't even try, man, because I mean, think about it. Kurt Angle said this man's schedule back in the day, Vince would literally be at Raw or SmackDown, so he would get there probably about what time to get there? Probably about between 12 and 4.
Right.
Stay there till midnight. Said he would leave the building, hop on the plane. Be thinking about ideas and stuff for the next show or whatever. Hop on a plane, land in Connecticut, go to the office, work out for 4-5 hours, and then literally go back to the office that next morning, take a shower, go back to the office, sit down with creative or whatever, hop on the plane and go to the next show.
That joke sound like me, boy, when I used to work out all the time.
But Harry, he said he would do that every day.
I know he did it every day, and I mean he did it for years. He's been doing that for years. That's his routine. I've done it in certain spurts, Chris. I've done it in spurts, not every day like that. That's just crazy. That's crazy.
You got to be really dedicated and an insane workaholic.
Exactly. And that's the thing with Ric Flair. Ric Flair was like that, but I mean, he would party. He had his breaks for parties and doing all the crazy stuff and drinking, but he worked out constantly, and that's what kept him in. That's what kept him in the game for so long, man. And you know what? The Road Warriors used to do that when they first started. But man, I guess the drinking got the halt. But man, they used to do that. They was relentless, man. A lot of guys were back in the day. They were relentless. All right, let's see. Mag says, greetings, Chris and Harry. Did you read that, Chris? And happy birthday to the Nature Boy. Woo!
Yeah, you just read it. Yeah.
Okay, Robert Brown, if I may ask Chris, what year was you training?
Oh, you went back. You went.
I went back. Let's see. Okay, JL. So Bobby Heenan was just Brooks, no discipline.
Oh, you talking about he was CM Punk?
Yeah, he wasn't no CM Punk, but
no.
Yeah, he wasn't dedicated to his body and stuff like that. But he wasn't no CM Punk. He definitely wasn't injury prone.
No.
All right, JL Big Papa Pump is my favorite version of Scott, in my opinion. He broke the mold of the wrestler. Look, man, JL, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I know he looked good. Big Papa Pump looked good, but when it boils down to it, he's not the best looking physical specimen ever in wrestling. No flipping way. He looked good, but man, he was a little too up. He just certain spots and the way he was built was a little. He overdid it straight up. And even though, like you said, he calling himself a genetic freak and everything, that was great. It was a great promo, a great little gimmick type thing he did. But he definitely wasn't the best physical specimen ever in wrestling. I can name a few different guys that topped him. He looked good, but no. There's guys, man, that did it in the 60s and 70s didn't even use that a lot of stuff that he had. It had better bodies than him. Superstar Billy Graham, for one, back in the 70s. So yeah.
And all that, unfortunately, all that caught up with him though.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, well, Superstar Billy Graham did use supplements. Take that back. Yeah. But Billy Jack
hips
Haynes,
up and everything. And,
Jack Haynes, Tony Atlas, those guys, man, incredible bodies. So yeah, but Big Papa Pump, he looked great, JL, but don't let it fool you, man. You go back. Lex Luger, he never touched Lex Luger. Never touched Lex Luger. Lex Luger was incredible physical specimen. So yeah, Big Papa Pump, to me, I mean, I liked it. I love the look. but he never was the same wrestler again. He never was as good as he was when he was just regular Scott Steiner with the black hair. Had every move in the book, man.
He'll never be that guy.
Exactly. He could have been world champ, man. He took the world TV title off of Ricky Steamboat, but yeah, he could have been a world champ. JL Peacock is banned in Canada. Okay, wow.
What? Really? Really? What,
JL? Wow, that's what he says. Ray Sean said it's on Netflix also, Chris.
Okay, so it is on Netflix. Okay.
JL, I'll catch out that documentary. Definitely, JL. Ray Sean Williams, Ric Flair's son, Reed Flair had potential. Big time.
Yeah, matter of fact, Rick said he was going to be the next one. Yeah. Matter of fact, if he would have lived, it would have been Reed instead of Charlotte.
Yeah.
That's the only reason Charlotte's even in wrestling, because he knew
incredible.
His love for it. She knew his love for it.
Danny has a whole bunch of tapes on him. I think I got some of them, but Danny said he got all kind of stuff on him. But Reed was incredible, man.
And they said when he went over to Japan, man, they loved him so much, man.
Yeah.
They said they took care of that boy and they loved him so much over there.
Yeah. He got his daddy skills, man. He
literally started acting like his daddy and just couldn't handle it.
Yeah, Charlotte got him too, but David didn't. It skipped David.
Oh God, David, he ain't got. David got the personality of a piece of notebook paper, man.
Exactly, boy. Exactly. I'm just like, man, where in the world this kid come from? But hey,
yeah, David's horrible, boy.
Yeah, no doubt, man, no doubt. But wow. Let's see what we got next here.
JL said Spartacus.
Sounds cool. Sounds cool. No, it wasn't cool. It wasn't cool. Would have been stupid. You cannot change a man who already had been in the game, man, for 27 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, basically, and decide to call him something. Well, 25 years. Well, it was 20-something years at the time. Basically 20 years, and then call him something different. And I mean, this guy worldwide known, huge. That wasn't gonna work at all. All right, Robert Brown. I was when you was training. Robert Brown said
I was one. I was one when I was training.
Okay, Chris, was you training under when? Why did you stop? Okay, why did you stop?
Why did I stop? Almost broke my neck, man.
Yeah.
Almost broke my neck.
Plus, you got that what's name? You had that car wreck too. You had that.
Mm-hmm. Got that car wreck. Broke my broke my ankle, and was in a car wreck. Broke my ankle, and I can't run now. Yeah, so that's another reason, man. Because that's one thing about wrestling. You got to be able to run.
Matthew Holland says, hi, John Witherspoon. What's up, Matthew Holland?
John Witherspoon.
He called me that yesterday, too, man. Oh. Yeah, you remember. All right, Matthew Holland. Tomorrow is Reed Flair's birthday, Ray Sean. Reed Flair's birthday tomorrow, too?
That's crazy. That's crazy right there.
It is. Wow. Matthew Holland, he will be 36 years old today. Wow.
Boy, I know that's gonna mess Rick up, boy. I know that's gonna mess him up.
He did say something about that, man, that his birthday is so close to his that he don't really celebrate his birthday no more that much, or it makes him think of his son. I remember him saying that. Wow. Robert Brown, Ric Flair said Charlotte started a little before Reed passed away. Yeah, he did. That's what he said. And Charlotte felt it was her duty to carry it on.
Yeah,
because Charlotte just would have been there cheering on her brother, I think.
Mm-hmm.
She just would have been
gymnastics and stuff,
because Reed was going to be something, man, but he was just too much like his dad
and couldn't handle it, man. He tried to be like his daddy every single aspect you could think of. Yeah, and he just couldn't handle it, man.
He couldn't. But man, Reed Flair would have been something, man. But I'm pretty sure they've been treating that kid. He probably would have got over. Now I ain't gonna say he would have got overhyped or overplayed or whatever, but they would have been. A lot of people would have been looking at it. Oh, he's getting all these accolades because of his dad. I guarantee you. That's
man. Yeah, like they did Charlotte.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like they did Charlotte, man. I mean, because they do the same thing to her. So
yeah,
everybody like Charlotte ain't good. Only because it's her daddy.
Man, she is talented, but she is good.
She got some skills now.
Reed would have been. I believe Reed would have been really good. But this is a case. Now you look at a lot of athletes and their children. Their children, for the most part, most of their children don't live up to the hype. But
that's a lot of pressure, man. That's a lot of pressure.
That is a case where something, his kids would have lived up to his name, man, and was able to do a lot of the things he did and elevated it. That's the reason. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about Bronny James, which everybody's saying the kid's not good enough to make it to the NBA. He barely good enough to start. He starts every now and then on his for the USC Trojans for his college team. But Bronny James, man, is going to use his power and influence to pretty much put this guy on an NBA basketball team. But I'm sorry, Michael Jordan's sons wasn't good enough. He had two sons that played college basketball. It wasn't good enough to make it to the NBA.
No,
it just wasn't.
Not at all.
Let's see. But every now and then you might have a son or you might have a child, or daughter or son that live up to the expectations, live up to what you were. And some exceeded. Bob Orton Jr.'s son, he exceeded him. Randy Orton, way better wrestler than his father. His father was great.
And what about, you think he better than his granddaddy? Senior?
Close.
Really?
Probably, I think he's better. The thing about Bob Orton Sr. is Bob Orton Sr. kind of was an assassin. He was an assassin. And he basically went out and collected bounties. He went from town to town. He was kind of like one of those guys. He was kind of like Ernie the Cat Ladd.
Man, so why he didn't collect the damn money? Why he didn't take the damn money, Harry?
Money. Why in the world you think his son was doing that? His son was out there collecting bounties, man. And then he started using the cask after that. I mean, the joker, he collected the bounty. Bob Orton Sr., Bob Orton Jr. and Dick Slater, they collected the bounty on Flair. Bob Orton Jr. was collecting bounties before that. He had collected a bounty on Roddy Piper in Portland, Oregon. People don't talk about that. He had collected a bounty too. He collected a bounty on Steve Kern up in Florida. He had done that before he had did that whole Ric Flair. He was following in his father's footsteps. But after Ric Flair injured him, he came back and didn't say he didn't want to wrestle Flair again. He had a messed up arm. Flair beat the living crap out of him, stomped him, and beat the living daylights out of him. And he said, if I wrestle him, I'm about to wrestle him with this cast. After that, he started wearing that cast everywhere he went.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
But yeah, Bob Orton Sr. was great. He was great. He just wouldn't stay in one territory. Same, just like, he was a Dick Murdoch, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Ernie the Cat Ladd, Andre the Giant. He was that type of person that went all around the country and knew he would get paid for that, and that's what he did. He wouldn't stay in one place to pretty much solidify. And he probably would have, if he would have been a fan favorite, he would have, his legacy would have been set, but he wasn't a fan favorite. That's the whole thing about Dusty Rhodes. Because Dusty Rhodes, he was a heel for a long time with the Outlaws.
Yeah, him and Dick Slater.
Dick Murdoch. But because Dick Slater, they was around the same time, so it's easy to confuse them. But yeah, when
you imagine Murdoch, man, you imagine Dusty at that time, Dusty, Dick Murdoch, and Dick Slater, them three together.
Yeah,
that would have been insane, man.
Oh heck yeah, man, heck yeah.
But yeah.
But okay, Randy Orton, man, he exceeded him. Let me see who else in wrestling I can really say that. I mean, because you got a lot of wrestlers like John Laurinaitis. I mean, Road Warrior Animal's son became.
And I didn't know it was three of them. It was three brothers. Three brothers.
Laurinaitis brothers?
Yeah, I had no idea. It's three of them.
Who's the third one?
Somebody posted a picture on Facebook. You had Johnny Ace, Animal, and another one was called the Terminator.
It's three. It was three of them. I forgot the other one's name, but
I was like, what is three of them? And it was so funny because they showed the picture of all three of them, and it looked like Animal, believe it or not, as far as height-wise, Animal was the shortest.
He was the smallest one. Yeah, I remember the other one too. I can't remember his name. But I think he was Terminator.
He was the shortest one. I'm like, I would.
He was the most successful in the ring, though. He was the most successful in the ring.
Made the most money out of all of them.
Oh, exactly. Just 1 second, Chris. I'll be right back. Go ahead and answer some questions.
All right, Robert Brown. Chris, did you see Ric Flair kill Tony? No, I didn't see that, man. I didn't see that, Robert. I didn't see that. Matthew Holland, what city did I live in? I was in South Carolina, man. I'm in South Carolina, man. Yeah, Matthew, I was down there in South Carolina, man. Big city of Greenville, South Carolina, man. So yeah. But guys, man, we glad you came in, guys, and hopefully you're enjoying the show, man. We're celebrating Ric Flair and his career on his birthday, and everything, man. So yeah, guys. I mean, Rick's he's done a lot, man. He's done a lot in his career, and good, bad, and ugly. He's covered everything, man. So yeah, he's done a lot for sure.
No doubt. But yeah, I'm gonna go over to his Wikipedia, Chris, and then I'm gonna go over certain points in his career. Let me find his Wikipedia page,
all right, man,
or whatever. But yeah, we're gonna go over certain points in his career, and I'll be able to give you guys some details on certain things that was going on at that time. Let's see, just 1 second, guys. I'll pull him up here. Let's see, so we can pretty much go in detail of certain things that was happening when this stuff was going on, when he was pretty much running in and out of the rings, guys, running the streets. Ric Flair was running the streets, boy. But his Wikipedia page is outrageous. This thing is long.
Well, he got about what, 45 divorces, boy, and 18 kids, boy.
Hey, man. This thing is long. Okay, all right. All right, born February 25th, 1949, known professionally as Ric Flair, is an American professional wrestler currently signed to All Elite Wrestling. Regarded by multiple peers and journalists as the greatest professional wrestler of all time, Flair has had a career spanning over 50 years. And I tell you what, man, no ends, ands, or buts about it. Can't deny that he's not the best that ever got in the ring, the best that ever did.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
As far as the biggest draw, no, he wasn't the biggest draw. Now he did draw. He drawed a lot, but he wasn't the biggest draw of all time. All right. He is noted for his tenures with Jim Crockett Promotions, World Championship Wrestling, the World Wrestling Federation, later WWE, and Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. Much of his career was spent in Jim Crockett Promotions and WCW, in which he won numerous titles since the mid-1970s. He has used the moniker The Nature Boy, a major pay-per-view attraction throughout his career. Flair headlined the premier annual NWA WCW event Starrcade on 10 occasions, while also co-headlining its WWE counterpart, WrestleMania in 1992, after winning that year's Royal Rumble. Pro Wrestling Illustrated awarded him the Wrestler of the Year award a record 6 times. Man, and that's some serious that's serious business. That's when wrestling magazines pretty much ruled wrestling. Wrestling magazines were so good. That's what I liked about wrestling magazines, is they could pretty much carry a storyline. They could pretty much, they was able to advance storylines, and they was able to pretty much create storylines because that right there was your internet. That right there was, that was your answer. But yeah, Ric Flair, he won that Wrestler of the Year, man, multiple times in in Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and that's when guys, guys that was bigger than him. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's see where I'm at. Let's see. All right, while Wrestling Observer newsletter named him the Wrestler of the Year, an award named after him and Lou Thesz a record 8 times. Then wow. And that's what what's the name run now. He runs that newsletter. The one that do the rankings.
Meltzer.
Yeah, Dave Meltzer. But he didn't used to own it, but now he owns that. An award named after him and Lou Thesz a record 8 times. The first 2-time WWE Hall of Fame inductee, first included with the class of 2008 for his individual career, and again with the class of 2012 as a member of the Four Horsemen. He is also a member of the NWA Hall of Fame, the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, and the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame. Flair is officially recognized by WWE as a 16-time world champion, 8-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, 6-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion, and 2-time WWE Champion. Okay, we're going to go ahead and stop right there. Now, he 16 times. They recognize that, but it's been noted that he's won it 21 times. But, WWE recognized
they don't count 16.
Yeah, they count that 16 because a few of the times, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, that he lost the title, he was not supposed to take it or lose it. The guy over in Puerto Rico, I forgot the guy's name in Puerto Rico. He said he's going to go ahead and beat him either way it goes. So he did a shoot job on Flair, took the title. Then Flair had to come back and fight him to win that title back. And then Flair had to fight his way out of the crowd. Flair said, I'm about to go out there because he shot on him and won the title. He had to fight for the title to get it back because the guy wasn't going to give the title up. But the guy was representing, it was in Dominican Republic that happened. And one time it happened in Puerto Rico too. Not Carlos Colon, it was somebody else. But they took the title from him And I think Carlos Colon got it one time too, and it was given right back to Flair. But I know he had to fight that guy in the Dominican Republic, and I thought it was real bad over there because he didn't think he was gonna get out of there alive. He had to fight one guy over in Puerto Rico, and it happened to I think Jumbo Tsuruta took it from him up in Japan. Jumbo Tsuruta took it from him, and he won it back from Jumbo Tsuruta like the next week. They didn't recognize that because Flair thought Jumbo Tsuruta should have it, and he went ahead and jobbed to him and lost the title, and he won it back the next week. Now, Jumbo Tsuruta would have been a good champion. Probably could have held it for about 4 months or whatever, three or 4 months. He was a great wrestler. Let's see, and he lost it. I think he lost it in England or Australia or somewhere or whatever down in the bush, whatever he said. And he had to fight. He had to fight to get that off of him too. You had people around the world who did not care about the NWA rules. They said, "Look, I'm going to go ahead and win this title for my people," and they wanted to get cheers, so they decided they were going to do a shoot. Al Perez said he was going to do that with Ric Flair. When Al Perez first went to WCW, well, it was back then Jim Crockett Promotions, well, it was WCW too. But Jim Crockett, they said Jim Crockett will fire your ass on the spot if you did that. But Al Perez wanted the title real bad to me. I'll just go in there and just beat him. He kept telling Kevin Sullivan. Kevin Sullivan was
going to change the finish here. He's going to change
the finish. And Kevin Sullivan said, Jim Crockett will come out there personally and fire your ass on the spot. He said, you better not do that.
And don't trip over that bottom rope neither, boy.
Exactly. But Al Perez, they said Al Perez, man, was talking about, oh, I know I can beat him. You know, I just go ahead and beat him, you know, and he'll have a hard time getting it back. Because, you know, Al Perez was a strictly shoot fighter anyway, in real life. You know, he could actually fight. But, man, they said what's the name used to roll with, they said people did that on Crockett. Well, they said Crockett used to roll with people like Big Bubba Rogers as his back, had Big Bubba Rogers, Rick Rude, and people like that. Used to come running out there, roll out there, man, to the back room with it. And they said, if you started any trouble.
But Rick Rude is one you didn't want to see, man. Rick Rude was strong.
They said, he used to roll with guys like that, man. They said Jim Crockett did not play no mess, boy. He was like a true gangster, boy. He like, you defy his orders, boy. That joke was ready to break you up, boy. Like you said, man, not trip over the ropes.
Don't, boy. You trip over them ropes, you done. Boy.
Exactly.
That's what they told Nikita Koloff, man. They gave him a tryout, and he's like, hey, we're going to put him on the show.
Yeah.
And if he go out there, and it was a non-televised show, it wasn't one of their big shows.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're going to give him a try. You say he good, I believe your word. So if he go out there and he trip over that bottom rope, he out. He fired. Yeah. He can finish his match, and then we'll send him packing. Who was it? Who was managing him? Who brought him in? I can't remember who it was right now. But he was telling Magnum, just do the basics. Do the basics now. Do the basics now. Just watch out, man. He said he was so afraid that Nikita was going to trip up or do something, man, that was botch it some kind of way. He said he knew he would have been gone. But yeah, Jim Crockett said, if he just one little trip over the ropes, that's it. Wow.
That was crazy, man. That was crazy. Yeah, it says, although the number of world championships reigns varies by source, ranging from 16 to 17 to 25, he has claimed to be a 21-time world champion. That 25 is ridiculous. He was the first holder of the WCW World Heavyweight Championship and the WCW International World Heavyweight Championship. And that's one thing I liked about the NWA back then. The NWA, WCW, they did have that on TV. I did get to see those clips when during those questionable times, and they had to give the titles back, and he had to fight for the title. I did see those. I remember when he gave them back, they showed more of those clips, but they showed over in Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, they showed a little clip of that, and he was fighting through the crowd. He had to fight that guy to get the title back. But they didn't show. That show was crazy, man. I was like, wow. I'm just like, But Jim Cornette was talking about that too, and they was asking Jim Cornette, could he really fight? And he said, yeah. He said Flair could actually fight. He said, especially if he had to handle himself, he definitely could do that. If you got into a brawl with him. Now, fist fight, he said that was a different thing. He said if you engage with Flair, you're gonna have to do a lot of things to pretty much beat him. He could roll you up. All right, let's see. Where we would. Let me get back to where I was at, man. Goodness sake. I think I dropped this thing here for a second, but give me a minute. I'll be right back to that. Gonna say, like I say, man, this thing is long, Chris. All right, let's see. He was the first holder of the WCW World Heavyweight Championship and the WCW International World Heavyweight Championship, which he also held last as the inaugural WCW Heavyweight Champion. He became the first person to complete the WCW's Triple Crown. Now, you know, the Triple Crown thing, man, I still, in my opinion, I still hold an affinity for that for all Japan pro wrestling, even though I know, you know, I think it's the New Japan now, Chris, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, all Japan was the first ones who used to do that. They didn't even have a belt. They had a trophy, they had a plaque, and that thing they used to put around your neck or whatever. Like that. Yeah, but that was the original Crown champion. Having already held the WCW World States Heavyweight Championship and WCW World Tag Team Championship, he then completed WWE's version of the Triple Crown when he won the WWE Intercontinental Championship after already holding the WWF Championship and the World Tag Team Championship. Now, really, I remember him having the WWE Intercontinental Championship, but I didn't follow him at that time, Chris. How did he do as the Intercontinental Champion?
Oh, Flair?
Yeah. I didn't follow him at that time.
He was all right. By then, he was with Evolution by then.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He was with Evolution, so he was on the tail end of his career, man.
All right, I'm not going to read about his early life, guys. I'm not going to read about that. Like I said, you guys can go and check out documentaries and things like that, so no need for me to even go into that. But, yeah, he was in the AWA between 1972 and 1974. Like I said, guys, I really didn't see him until 1974. You know, I knew about him because of wrestling books before that. But it says a successful amateur wrestler in his teens, Flair trained as a professional wrestler with Vern Gagne. He attended Gagne's first wrestling camp with Greg Gagne, Jumping Jim Brunzell, the Iron Sheik, and Ken Patera. Wow, man. At Gagne's barn outside Minneapolis in the winter of 1971. On December 10, 1972.
Maya, you want a cheese quesadilla? Sorry.
That's all right. He made his debut in Rice Lake, Wisconsin, battling George Scrap Iron Godowski to a 10-minute draw while adopting the ring name Ric Flair. During his time in the American Wrestling Association, AWA, Flair had matches with Dusty Rhodes, Chris Taylor, Andre the Giant, Larry Heenan, and Wahoo McDaniel. Wow, man. How many legendary wrestlers in that? In that crew, Greg Gagne, okay, Jumping Jim Brunzell, the Iron Sheik, and Ken Patera, man. Incredible. And then he had matches with Dusty Rhodes, Chris Taylor, Andre the Giant, Larry Heenan, and Chief Wahoo McDaniel. All legends, guys. All legends. Big-time legends, man. And the ones that's in the Hall of Fame, I think, you got Andre the Giant in the Hall of Fame, Dusty Rhodes in the Hall of Fame, the Iron Sheik in the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure about – I don't think Ken Patera's in the Hall of Fame.
No.
He should be. He's like I say, that was the world's strongest man. Jumping Jim Brunzell probably going to end up in the Hall of Fame. He was with the Killer Bees, but Jumping Jim Brunzell was an incredible wrestler. Is Wahoo McDaniel in it?
No.
Okay, no. Wahoo McDaniel should get it. Hopefully he gets in sometime soon, man. He is incredible. But that right there, that group of wrestlers, wow, man, wow. But yeah, that was a tough school that he went through too. Going through Gagne's school, man.
They said if you can make it through that, boy, you automatically in.
And yeah, exactly. And I tell you what, I know there's been some heckified trainers out here. I know Stu Hart's training camp was horrendous. I know Fritz Von Erichs was crazy. I know, Hiro Matsuda, Fabulous Moolah Hus was hard as I don't know what too. There was a lot of great trainers, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, hardcore trainers. I don't think anybody was rougher than Vern Gagne. And I don't think nobody trained as many champions as Vern Gagne. You had Bob Backlund come out of that school. Ric Flair came out of that school. Nick Botwinkle came out of that school. Let's see. So I think Jack Briscoe came out of that. So many different champions came that was trained by Vern Gagne. Vern Gagne was, champion of champions there. Didn't the Road Warriors train under him? They went through that school, didn't they?
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah, it was the Road. Yeah, the Road Warriors went through that school. Yeah, the Warriors, Rick Rude, all those guys went through that. Vern Gagne, man, whew.
And all of them went to the gym, boy.
Yeah, what's that?
All of them went to the gym.
Heck yeah, man. All right, International Wrestling Enterprise, 1973. Flair made his first appearance in Japan in 1973. I didn't know that. With International Wrestling Enterprise, because he was very popular, man, over in Japan back in the 70s. You know, early 70s, 75, 76, 77.
Yep.
Wrestling over there with Andre. I didn't know that his first appearance was in 73. He was a rookie. As part of a working agreement between IWE and AWA promoter Vern Gagne, he competed in IWE's Big Summer Series throughout June and July, facing opponents as Animal Hamaguchi, Great Satsuda, Satsu, Katsu, Masamo, Mighty Inoue, I'm sorry, and Rusher Kimura. Only one I really know is Mighty Inoue, very, big time Japanese wrestler, and I know about Animal Hamaguchi. All right, Jim Crockett Promotions. This first time I saw him, guys. Jim Crockett Promotions, World Championship Wrestling between 1974 and 1981. Man, you talking about some incredible matches, some incredible feuds that happened over there during this time, and that basically this was the best that I've seen Ric Flair. I'm not gonna say it was the best I've seen Ric Flair. I'll take that back. But as far as power wrestling go, it has to be the best power. And as far as he had his full, what I'm gonna say, as far as intensity, his intensity level, and that's because he was younger, but he was incredible, guys. All right, man. It says in 1974, Flair left the AWA for Jim Crockett's Mid-Atlantic region and in the National Wrestling Alliance, NWA, debuting on May 13, 1974 by defeating Abe Jacobs. All right, Abe Jacobs, man. Abe Jacobs was only like 40 years old, guys. He looked like he was in the 70s at that time. Chris, you should be, since you're off camera, you should be the one who reading this stuff, man. I wish you were. What are you doing right now?
Oh, eating nachos.
I wish you was reading this, man, because like I say, I can answer the questions if you was reading.
We ain't got no questions really, actually.
Well, I know we ain't got no questions right now, man, but still, people will be coming back to watch this thing, I'm pretty sure. So be great if you was reading it. But hey, I see what's the name says Matthew Holland. Ric Flair seen a what? Let me see. I can't read that. What did he say there, man? Matthew Holland.
Ric Flair, Sean O'Hare, and Maria Kanellis have the same birthday.
Okay, thank you, Matthew Holland.
And he said, and Daniel Benoit would have been 24 today.
Oh, yeah. Just a moment, man.
Wow, man. I had no idea Daniel Benoit would have been 24. That is wild.
I didn't either.
Yeah, that is wild, man. But yeah, Ric Flair had a heck of a career, man.
That's okay. Because, this is, that's the reason why, like I say, it would have been better if you was reading it. You was reading it and I was just answering questions. That way, like I say, that way it's better, than me looking down and reading this and you're not on screen. You understand what I'm saying? All right. But, all right, man. So let's go ahead and go with, go back, man, to that 1974 when he basically started. 1974, Flair left the AWA for Jim Crockett Promotions. Jim Crockett region in the National Wrestling Alliance, NWA, debuting on May 13, 1974 by defeating Abe Jacobs. Like I said, Abe Jacobs looked like he was about 70 years old, man, at that time. All the way through his career. He just looked old, man. Let's see. Shortly after his debut, Flair won his first championship in the promotion by teaming with Rip Hawk to defeat Bob Bruggers and Paul Jones to win the Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Championship. After a lengthy title reign, Flair and Hawk lost the titles to Paul Jones and Tiger Conway Jr. Okay, Tiger Conway Jr., man, that is somebody, like I say, they definitely, Flair, after him and Rip Hawk lost the titles, Flair ended up having a long title reign with Tiger Conway Jr. Man, stop eating and get on camera, man. Stop eating and get on camera.
Man, what's up, man?
All you doing is eating chips, man. Stop eating, get on camera. I'm going to start reading. I'm just going to go straight on for this. Okay, so basically, you just on here, eating chips, man. What kind of crap is that?
Hey, man.
It's all good, man. Goodness sake, man. Yeah, we're getting people in here again. I appreciate everybody coming in, rocking with the Straight Up Wrestling channel, man. Rocking with the Straight Up Wrestling show, guys. We're talking about the Nature Boy Ric Flair. We're talking about, man, his championships, his time in the ring. Hey, Ric Flair had a 50-year career. Basically, he's still pretty much trying to get in and do something. That's one thing he shouldn't do. But, man, I'm going to go back to the 70s, and I'm going to go to the things that I remembered about Ric Flair. I'm not going to go ahead and I'm not going to read anything else on that. for obvious reasons. But basically, like I said, I'm just going back to the 70s, 1974. First feud I remember him having, like I said, first I remember him being in the tag team with Rip Hawk. Rip Hawk is the ultimate stylist. Now, Chris would have loved Rip Hawk. Rip Hawk used to smoke a cigar on TV all the time. He dressed real nice, smoked the cigar. Guy was cool as I don't know what. You talking about somebody that could wrestle, man. Somebody who could get down dirty. Hey, he was Buzz Sawyer before Buzz Sawyer. He was Arn Anderson before Arn Anderson. This guy, he was an incredible wrestler in and out of the ring, man. And he was the oldest statesman. It was great for them to put Ric Flair with him because he was one of these guys that guided Ric Flair and pretty much made Ric Flair cool because he was cool. He was considered just, John Wayne, pretty much this John Wayne, John Wayne, pretty much Paul Newman type cool guy. He just had it, man. He just had it. And Ric Flair pretty much fed off of that because Ric Flair kind of had like a goofy persona at first. He was just trying to make his way in. He always had those promos and he was saying woo and all that stuff, but he sounded kind of silly at first when he was doing that. You go.
Yep. And we lost Harry again, it looks like, man. Yeah, his signal was kind of going in and out, guys, but guys, we thank y'all for coming in, man. We appreciate it. We really do. Like I said, we're going over the career of Ric Flair as we celebrate his birthday today, guys. We do appreciate, as wrestling fans, we appreciate everything that he has done for for us as fans during his time in the ring, man. So he has done a lot, like I said, good, bad, and otherwise. But yeah, guys, he's done some stuff, man. And hopefully Harry gets back up in here, man. Because like I said, this is Harry's guy, man. He knows more about Flair than anybody. I just know bits and pieces compared to Harry. This is his whole deal, man. That's his man. That's his idol. Yeah. So, but thank you guys, like I said, coming in, rocking with us, man. And no matter what platform you're watching us on social media, man, go ahead and hit that like, share, subscribe, and join button. Whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, or even, formerly known as Twitter, X now. But guys, yeah, we thank y'all for rocking with us, man. Like I said, hopefully he comes back. Here he comes now. Here he comes now. Trying to get back on. Let's see here. Is he on? Is he on? There you go, man.
Goodness sake. I barely can hear you. Man, can you hear me? Do I sound?
Yeah, you good. Now what happened, man? Well, there you go again. Lost him again. All right. So hopefully, he'll come on and we'll be back. He having some technical difficulties over there, man. All right, guys. Like I said, Harry's having some technical difficulties. Sorry about this. I don't know what's going on his end, but it is yeah. But basically, man, like I said, we was just going over the highlights of careers. But when I was caught Flair, man, it was in the 80s. When I caught him, I couldn't stand the Joker, man. He was already with the Horsemen. And I just couldn't stand him. I just couldn't stand him because he was always cheating and he was just egotistical, arrogant, and just I just couldn't stand him. As a young kid, I was more of a Dusty Rhodes Road Warriors. Anybody that beat up the Horsemen, basically. Boogie Woogie, man, those kind of guys. During the 80s at that time. So yeah, that's where that's where I was at that time. Hold on, let me get Harry back in here, man.
Okay,
man. You good, man?
Man, I don't know about all that. Give me just a second. But yeah, What would you say? What would you just say?
I was just telling about my experience, man. This is your guy, man. You know more about anybody. I just caught him in the 80s when he was already with the Horsemen.
That's the reason. Oh, just one second.
This your guy.
Let me get this thing back because I'm on my tablet now. But no, that's the reason why, man. I was saying you should be reading the Wikipedia about him and everything, and I should be answering questions. That's the reason we're gonna have to do this next time. Because, like, say, when I do Bret Hart, you know more about Bret Hart than I do. So next time we do this, man, I'm gonna be answering the question. I'm gonna ask most of the questions. You're gonna answer. You know, I sit there and say, hey, this is what Wikipedia is saying, and hey, you know more about him. You know more about the British Bulldogs than I do. That's the way we have to do these things. You know, hey, I know more about Flair than you. I mean, of course, you started seeing him since the mid '80s, but you know, I know pretty much his whole career. So definitely, we got to do that. You know, we definitely got to do it like that. And because you know, still double team these things like this. Yeah, man. Yeah. And that way we both get knowledge of everything going on. But all right. So Daniel Benoit, he will be 24 years old today. Wow. But yeah, appreciate everybody coming in, man. You know, we don't have everybody in here speaking, but I do see people coming in. We definitely appreciate you guys coming in as we talk about Ric Flair, as we celebrate Ric Flair's birthday today, man, and his son will be in a couple of days. And like Chris said, that's going to be hard on the son. But man, to go back to where I was getting off at, I was saying talking about Rip Hawk. Chris would have loved this dude, man. Rip Hawk, incredible. Like I say, incredible in that ring. But yeah, he definitely was. Like I said, he was Buzz Sawyer before Buzz Sawyer. He was Arn Anderson before Arn Anderson, and he pretty much coached Rick alone. Until he pretty much was in his retirement years. And when Rick, you know, then Rick had that plane crash, came back, you know, before that, him and Rip Hawk had lost those titles to Paul Jones and Tiger Conway Jr., a black wrestler. Tiger Conway Jr., young guy, the same age as Ric Flair. And then when Ric Flair came back, then those guys had like a year-long feud before Ricky Steamboat came in. It was Tiger Conway Jr. and Ric Flair going back, trading wins with each other, man. Incredible. Tiger Conway Jr. was something special. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if it was drugs or whatever, but it looked like he started messing with drugs and things like that. But last I knew about him is when he teamed up with Pistol Pez Whatley in the like mid 80s, like 84, 85, maybe 86. I can't remember what year it was. But Tiger Conway Jr. had left, went back up to Houston, was wrestling on and off, and he came back and he teamed with Pez Whatley, and they was called the Jive Tones. The Jive Tones, man, and that's somebody that man Marquis Mayhem need to look up. He need to look up the Jive Tones if he want to get that juke and the jive, and those guys juke and jive more than anybody, Chris. Jive Tones. But Tiger Conway Jr. was an incredible wrestler, incredible, and he could have been the best black wrestler that I ever seen if he would have stayed with it. But yeah, he was incredible. He matched Ric Flair, man. That's what I'm saying, Chris. Those two went back and forth. They traded wins. You know, that year they came back, and they when he came back around in 78, 79, and he got into a Ric Flair again, and they traded wins. He was an incredible wrestler, man. Tiger Conway Jr. He was incredible. His dad was too, Tiger Conway. All right, so. Yeah, Ric Flair went from right after the Tiger Conway Jr. Feud, which was a great feud here in the Carolinas, Virginia. It was an outstanding feud. He went from that to a newcomer who came in, who beat him on his debut. He beat Ric Flair on his debut on TV, and Ric Flair lost his mind. That was Ricky Steamboat. He was just called Ricky Steamboat, guys. Beat Ric Flair on TV in his debut. Everybody was stunned.
Wasn't right since, man. He wasn't right since. That joke was losing his mind every day after that, boy. Ricky
there's no doubt about it. Flair lost his mind, man. He went flipping crazy. Can't blame him. Man, Rick Steamboat was incredible. I couldn't believe it. Ric Flair was my favorite wrestler at that time, so I saw Steamboat. Steamboat took the gauntlet at that time. He took the case, man. I was like, wow, this guy, he blew my mind. My mind was blown how good he was. Then after that, man, Ric Flair did everything he could to ruin this kid. Ric Flair couldn't stand the way he looked. He couldn't stand that the ladies liked him. Ric Flair took his face, put it into the cement, and rubbed his face all over the cement, man, the cement floor. And Steamboat walked around for about 3 weeks, man, with a big old bruise on his face, man, the size of a golf ball. Well, bigger than that. That thing was huge, man. But he met from his eye on down to his jaw, man. It was just sticking out. But Flair bruised the crap out of him, man. Flair said, I can't stand him. I can't stand all the women liking him. They supposed to just be on me. He said, so I ruined that pretty face. It was crazy. And they had a feud from 76 to 78, guys. That's how long it went. 2 years. Flair, that the one thing about Flair, now this thing was going on for 2 years. But Ric Flair, he was not only feuding with just Steamboat, he was feuding with Chief Wahoo McDaniel at that time. Because I take that back. Right after Conway Jr., it was him and Chief Wahoo McDaniel who had a huge feud. So he was at a feud with a very dangerous feud, man. I'm talking about they tried to kill each other between Wahoo and Ric Flair. That's what Ric Flair, just before Ric Flair was doing the huge chops. But against Wahoo, okay. That's where he learned those chops at. Wahoo was chopping the crap out of him. Flair would turn back around and try to chop him. And we were laughing about that. Flair got good at it. They feuded for so long. They feuded for a year. 75, 76, Flair was feuding with him and Tiger Conway Jr. Right after that, that's when Steamboat came in. And Steamboat feuded with him in 77, 78. And Flair still was going at it with Steamboat and Conway Jr. every now and then. That's what made him so great, man, because he could hold up so many different feuds. Okay, after that in 78, then 1979, here comes somebody. Roddy Piper. Heel, right? A heel. Yeah. Ric Flair at that time was the most hated wrestler in the world. He had got voted in Pro Wrestling Illustrated 2 times as the most hated wrestler in the world at that time. And he was hated, man. I'm talking Dom Mysterio hatred. He was hated big time. Roddy Piper took that from him. Ric Flair became a face. Next thing you know, he's friends with Steamboat. Him and Steamboat teaming together. He's friends with Steamboat. He's friends with Conway Jr. He's friends with Wahoo McDaniel. That's when his chop got better. That's what people said. Wahoo McDaniel taught him to chop. His chop got stronger and harder. He was an incredible fan favorite. And who did he get into a feud with? Roddy Piper, who came in. Nobody thought this kid was going to be any good. He was small. I mean, kind of, not small, but skinny, compared to the wrestlers of that day, trying to play bagpipes. And back then, hey, it was killed. Everybody laughing at it. Yep. Chris, a man wearing a dress in 1979 in the United States. Wow, but everybody was picking on him. Everybody was going at him. And Roddy Piper would just go crazy, just beat the heck out of his opponents. But he ended up in a feud with Ric Flair. Ric Flair was the United States heavyweight champion. He took that United States heavyweight championship off Greg the Hammer Valentine in 1979. Ric Flair had that title for almost 8 or 9 months. Roddy Piper and Roddy Piper finally took it off Ric Flair after about 3 or 4 months of a hard feud, man. You talk, and that solidified Roddy Piper as one of the greatest at that time. Oh, man. But Roddy Piper and Ric Flair were just, man, it mesmerized the country. They had it back in 1979. 1979, it lasted to 1980. And in 1980, Dusty Rhodes defeated Harley Race for the World Heavyweight Championship. And Ric Flair had his eyes on the World Heavyweight Championship. He had been in the game for 8 years. Everybody saying this kid should be the World Heavyweight Champion. Ric Flair was the United States champion. He had took it back from Roddy Piper. He had his eyes set on Dusty Rhodes. So, but he wasn't traveling. He was traveling all over the country. Ric Flair, even though he's United States, he was the traveling United States champion. Not a lot of guys in Mid-Atlantic. A lot of guys had it in Mid-Atlantic, and they just traveled to Carolinas and Virginia, and Pennsylvania and New York, where Crockett Promotions was at, and defended in Canada up there, and when they had that working relationship with Stampede. Those are the only places that they went. But Ric Flair, he tried.
Your video feed and your audio is messing up bad, man. You everything, man.
I bet. Let me go back on my. Let me go. Let's go on cam, man. I mean, off. What about?
Say something now. I can't. Oh, you muted, man. You muted.
What's up?
Okay, there you go.
Does it sound good, man? Because right now, like say, I'm just
It's all staticky, man. It sounds like you popping and stuff, like you got some static.
not good, man. That's not good. All right, man. Look, I'm out of thing over, but we might have to end this thing, and I have to come back to this Ric Flair thing because I'm having problems here. I'm having technical difficulties, guys.
Yeah. Harry's having
difficulties, man.
Yeah, he's having some difficulties.
And that's not good because I'm pretty much the author of this thing. I'm pretty much the lead.
He knows about Ric Flair, but he knows Ric Flair almost better than Ric Flair.
So we'll come back to this, man. Definitely we'll come back to this and finish this a little bit later on. But hey, maybe Chris got something and we'll talk about something a little bit later. But guys, we're gonna get off. Appreciate everybody who came through. But yeah, guys, this right here is something that I will return to. I'll circle back to, but we're gonna keep this video up. But I will come back to this and continue with it. Sorry about this, guys, but yeah, I'm having too many technical difficulties. Talk to you guys later. Stay up. Stay straight up. Peace.